The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
If Casey DeSmith wins the Stanley Cup for your Vancouver Canucks, I will name my daughter DeSmith. Okay?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday, it's game day, baby, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, also a Canucks Raider since 2013, currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to thank you, baby, for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because guess what? It is your Canucks every damn day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Make sure you go subscribe, like it, or follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, got to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store or Google Play. Your Vancouver Canucks have been a cursed franchise for a long, long time, okay? But one day, the curse has to be lifted. And, you know, we were dealt another blow. Demko out, Casey DeSmith in. But I think there's some reasons to believe that the Canucks can pull this off with Casey DeSmith. Let's get into it in the first segment. Touch on a couple of notes I have on that one. We'll also talk about Pettersson speaking to Ian McIntyre of Sportsnet. A pretty candid interview, and a shout out to Ian McIntyre, one of the goats of Canucks media, for getting that scoop there. And of course, we're going to preview Game 3 tonight, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. It's game day, baby. Let's get into it. Before we do it, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle Bowen. Why would you save your daughter Casey, man? But anyways, how you doing, brother?
No. If Casey DeSmith wins us the cup, I'm naming my daughter DeSmith, okay? DeSmith Bowen. Okay? Queen of Tanzania. Why? Who knows? Anyways, think about this, okay? Back in the day, they built airplanes without the internet, okay? So Casey DeSmith can definitely win the Stanley Cup for your Vancouver Canucks. For real. It's just the truth. And that's a lot easier if Elias Pettersson wakes up. Again, more on that in 10 minutes. Bagsy Bowen doing this. It's Locked On Canucks. Like Trevor said, hit the like button, subscribe. One left to the Don't Doze Art Lab. For giving us the space, okay? For allowing us to produce this show on the daily. Looking out for their neighbors, right? Because we're home with the West Coast bias. Man, oh man, we really care about the city of Vancouver and all the Canucks fans worldwide. And man, oh man, it's Game 3, 4:30. My dad actually invited me to the pub/bar, Tap and Barrel. What would you call that? Okay, with the family today to watch the game, and I'm gonna deny it, man. I got. You know what? No, for real, I gotta deny it because I've watched the last 2 games at home and it was a good time. But I think this one has to be a little bit of a solo viewing. You know what I'm saying? No distractions. Just watch the game. I don't want people changing the channels and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I don't want, dude. I want to be left alone for this one. Okay. I cannot wait, and I cannot wait to see what Casey DeSmith does, especially in the first 10 minutes. Okay, we're talking about a Nashville Predators team playing their first playoff game at home this year, and also a Predators team that kind of got embarrassed, if you want to say it, even though they won the game, because they only had like 4 shots in a game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm expecting a lot of shots early for the Nashville Predators, just based on momentum, the atmosphere, and Casey DeSmith better be ready.
And you know what, Kyle? We've seen Casey DeSmith be ready early in games before, and obviously Game 1 did not go the way he wanted. But interesting quote from him yesterday, and showed up my colleague Noah Strag at Daily Hive, who tweeted this out. DeSmith saying that, quote, he likes being on the road because he likes being the underdog. Now, obviously the Canucks are still the favorite in this series, but it's easy for the guys in that room at least to believe that they are the underdog, right? You're missing your starting goalie. Brock Besser gets injured at practice yesterday, although we're told that he's going to be okay. It just seems like the cards are stacked against the Canucks to a certain extent. Obviously, Nashville now has home ice. You could spin a narrative here if you're the Canucks that you are the underdog, if that's what helps you win. And it sounds like that's what Smith wants to do. Now, Kyle, I think with Casey DeSmith, we've seen him play well. Again, we talked about it before. Every Dares know his numbers this season, the .896 save percentage. I don't think it truly reflects how good he actually was this season. He's got the ability to be a good goalie. I know you disagree with me a bit there, but I've said it time and time again that, having one of the worst save percentages shorthanded really cratered his save percentage. But I'm a believer in DeSmith. He's not Demko, but I believe he can help your Canucks win games. Now, for me, I like tying into the parallels of what's happened in Canucks history before, right? And what's happened with the management team here. So, again, I mentioned off the top, your Canucks are one of the most cursed franchises in the NHL. It's got to change one day, right? But let's look at some of the interesting parallels here. So Jim Rutherford, now in charge of your Vancouver Canucks.
Okay.
Jim Rutherford has won 2 Stanley Cups with goalies who kind of came out of nowhere to win the Stanley Cup. Obviously, Cam Ward in 05-06, and for a little background on that one, Cam Ward was, again, both goalies were young, and that's kind of the one thing that doesn't apply to this situation. But if you want to take a step back, Cam Ward, when he had his rookie season in 05-06, he was brutal in the regular season. He had like an 880 save percentage. The Carolina Hurricanes won a lot of games, but Cam Ward himself really struggled. But as soon as the playoffs hit, what happens? Martin Gerber lets in 11 goals in the first 2 games. Was revealed he had a stomach flu, but then Cam Ward comes in and out of nowhere becomes a hero in Carolina. So again, that story really came out of nowhere. Matt Murray, he had played like 13 NHL games before helping the Pittsburgh Penguins win the Cup, but he was at least good in the regular season. But again, you had 2 goalies seemingly come out of nowhere. So if you want to look at that narrative, Casey DeSmith, realistically could be that guy to come out of nowhere. And I want to make one other parallel too in terms of Vancouver Canucks and goalie heroes we've seen in the playoffs. And Kyle, this is before yours and my time, but older Canuck fans will know a guy named King Richard Brodeur from the 1982 run. Now, Richard Brodeur, he had, not a WHA. In 1982, it was his second NHL season, and he was pretty good in the regular season. The season before, he was okay, but out of nowhere in the Stanley Cup playoffs, this guy posted a .918 save percentage in the Stanley Cup playoffs in an era where goalies were letting in pucks left, right, and center. So we've seen it with Rutherford. We've seen it in Vancouver with Richard Brodeur. Goalies come out of nowhere to win the Stanley Cup. It's obviously happened elsewhere. And again, with the Canucks team that has offensive firepower, knows how to play defense, there is reason to believe still for Canucks fans.
And again, Casey DeSmith, 32 years old, UFA at the end of the year. I feel as if goaltending is a huge commodity still in the NHL. I think some people question that, but at the end of the day, a lot of teams moving forward, and we saw this year, want a 1B, and they're willing to pay for a 1B. So Casey DeSmith, man, you pull off some magic here, bro. Let's be real. You might be signing a 3-year, $12 million deal. You know what I'm saying? Or a 3-year, $10 million deal. Straight up. You get that term, you get that money. Get paid and deserve it. And, Trevor and I are mainly doing this because, A, we're delusional, right? We like to believe in the impossible because, again, dude, did you know they invented the stapler before the internet? Think about that. Before Photoshop was something? You get what I'm saying, bro? How do they do that? Exactly. We're delusional. Things happen. And B, I think we have to be this way. Last night we saw a tweet and it got a lot of people talking. It got a lot of people hurting, right? And I feel as if there's a big chance that this is incorrect, right? The end of this tweet, not the tweet in general, but it was Sarah Siv. I don't know her full name, but she tweeted out that she's hearing, okay? I'm hearing that Thatcher Demko is out for the rest of the playoffs, okay? And that hurt. That hurt me in the gut. It knocked the wind out of me, okay? It made tomorrow's game for like 5 minutes feel like a preseason game. So I'm like, what's the point? We're not getting to the Cup final. And then there was the group chat, right? The Canucks group chat. And there was Uncle Optimism, okay? Uncle Problems, the guy providing hope, providing juju. Straight up, we can still do this with Casey DeSmith, because why not? And Trevor, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Again, I'm a Vancouver Canucks only fan, right? Only Canucks. Join the Discord, link in the bio. Is Adin Hill the backup right now for the Las Vegas Golden Knights, or is he injured?
That's a good question. I was actually wondering that myself. Yeah.
If you can clarify that for me in the next 30 seconds, that would be nice. Because let's say that is true, there's more reason to be delusional. And let's say Adin Hill is injured and he's like the third string goaltender. And the point that I'm trying to make is stupid and wrong. Just remember, man. Just remember, man, they built a stapler. They made a stapler without Adobe Illustrator, without like any coding software. You know what I'm saying? Human beings are capable of doing magnificent things. And I believe in Casey DeSmith, man. He plays for the blue and green. I'm all about that West Coast bias. And we've been trying to do this for 50 plus years, and that's win the Stanley Cup, right? We've tried every single way to do it. I've been saying this season is somewhat of a storybook, right? It's an improbable movie, and this kind of just adds to the plot.
Yeah, 100%. And again, we need a movie-like script here for your Vancouver Canucks. And yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Demko thing. For those who might have missed it last night against Sarah Sivian, I can't remember who she's with now, was tweeting out that she's hearing Thatcher Demko will miss the rest of the playoffs. Elliot Friedman coming out this morning with a positive report on the Canucks. How about that? But he basically said that he was surprised by those reports because that's not what he's hearing. So at the end of the day, the Canucks have to, make it past this round and, go deep in the second round for us to have really much clarity on this situation. So right now it is Casey DeSmith time on Adin Hill. I did check out quickly. He's cleared to play. He
he's
played the regular
backup.
season finale. Yeah, he played the regular season
So
finale.
just do
as
that
well,
logic right there. Do that logic. This Thompson guy, I don't know his pedigree. I don't know his potential. I don't know when he was drafted, but he wasn't even the backup last year. And now he's the starter, and they just went 2-0 in Dallas in their series. Dallas is the Stanley Cup favorite. Goaltending, a weird position, man. Hey, what's the most weird position for you, Trevor, outside of goaltending? Because for me, it's still 69. Okay? It is. It's a smelly position, man.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it, to be honest, but
Yeah.
I'll get back to you once I go
pretzel,
to
right? The pretzel. I can't do the pretzel anymore, man.
Yeah,
I can't do the Hindu pretzel.
When
do
I
it.
go to .com, I'll let you know what the
Okay.
name of it is. But anyways, Casey Smith, we're believing. Canucks fans have reasons to believe even without him. And again, let's focus on the parallels. Let's focus on DeSmith again. He likes being the underdog. Tonight is a big moment for him, though,
Woo!
against the Nashville Predators. It's
Taking
game
off a
day,
button.
baby.
I'm taking off a button.
Let's go. I'm taking off a button too, man.
I'm
Come on.
taking off a button, man. Let's go. Get this
loose
chest
here,
hair
man.
popping, man.
Let's
Get
go.
it, man. Locked
All
on
right,
Canucks. Hit the like button.
let's-
Subscribe to the channel, man. This is it, man. West Coast bias. Only Begsy Bowen on the other side. We talking about Pettersson, right? Because Pettersson opening up his mouth, speaking the obvious, telling the truth, being accountable, and opening up the door for again today. Today being must-see TV. Okay, can Pettersson put on a show? I think so. But before we do that, Begsy, who we shouting out on Locked On Canucks?
All right, Pettersson talk, Game 3 preview, some quotes from Talkin on the other side. But before we do that, let's shout out our friends over at Indeed. You know the deal, baby. If you need a job, go get Indeed. And if you're hiring, also use Indeed, okay? It doesn't matter who you are. Indeed, they know what's up, okay? They are the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful tools like matching, assessment, and virtual interviews. And hate waiting? Who doesn't? Indeed's U.S. data shows that over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Candidates you invite to apply through Instant Match on Indeed are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in search. And Indeed, they do the hard hiring work for you, so you can sit back, relax, and scratch your you-know-what. Sponsor a job and we'll match you with quality candidates whose resume on Indeed fit your job description right when you post. With Indeed, you can start hiring fast. Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/lockedon to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and supply. Cost per application price not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
We back doing this, talking about your Vancouver Canucks. It's Locked On Canucks, and we're at the Don't Those Art Lab, home of the West Coast Buys. And just the place, man. Just the place doing a lot of things. Again, we'll help design these shirts right here, okay? For real. Look at these shirts. Boom, bam. Okay? The official Scott Rhodes Sellies tee. You don't have to be from Surrey to get this shirt, but represent, okay? The Canucks, man. They're the West Coast's team. I'll put the link in the bio for you to be able to buy that shirt And man, oh man, Trevor, think about this, man. We didn't even bring this up, okay? They built the pyramids back in the day without forklifts, without a hammer. And you're telling me we can't win hockey games without Thatcher Demko? We can do it. We can do it. Anything is possible, man. It really is, man. Again, my girlfriend is hot. Anything is possible, man.
Anything is possible. That's true, man. And, anything is possible with Elias Pettersson. And, we've seen good and bad with him recently. And I think, too many fans are probably forgetting about the good Elias Pettersson. But shout out to Ian McIntyre on the road, who had a good chat with Pettersson yesterday. And I thought Pettersson was pretty candid about where he was at with his game. So let's go through some of Pettersson's quotes for those who didn't read the article. Pettersson kind of started off by saying that he said, quote, "I've been wanting to do too much instead of just staying with and playing my game. Of course, I have to play hard and use the adrenaline, but I've definitely been trying too much instead of playing my game, letting the game come to you." And then he kind of said, "I thought I was going to score my first or second shift of the first game, and I was like, oh my God, I almost scored. I just want it so bad. I'm probably being too honest with you, but I mean, I'm not going to shy away from anything. I haven't been that good these first two games, but I can only look forward." And I think the guy you can kind of see what he's saying right now, right? He is just trying to do too much. And Talkett said so as well, that Pettersson, Talkett said, quote, after game 2, he's got to be decisive and he's got to shoot the puck more. And right now he's not being decisive. He's not shooting the puck more. And again, I think he's probably just in his own head too much. And again, we kind of forget that, Pettersson, 25 years old, this is his first taste of real Stanley Cup playoff hockey. And I listened to an interview with Brendan Morrison the other day as well, who mentioned that, he really had the jitters in the nerves. And, you might feel as if you're in your own lives, right, aside from hockey. But one thing Morrison mentioned is that you need to learn to control the emotions, which is easier said than done. Because sometimes, you get out there, you're so amped up, and then you start playing, and then when the emotions start to fade away and you get into the game, you almost feel tired, right? You're drained because of the emotional roller coaster that you're on. So these are things that Pettersson is starting to learn right now. And Quinn Hughes and 7 other guys on this roster as well, right? Half the guys on this team had not played in a real NHL playoff game before last week, right? So it's a learning experience for a lot of these guys, Pettersson included. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I do believe that Pettersson and the power play are both on the verge of breaking out.
Yeah. And, we got a big change to the power play. Lindholm now in front of the net. We no longer have one of the shortest players in hockey screening one of the shortest goaltenders in hockey. I think Rick Tocchet, again, ignored the Tocchet science and started using rocket science, okay? Real math. Yeah, the power play, all in all, I think we can talk about that a bit later, but it kind of does connect with Pettersson, right? A big reason why the power play sucks is because Pettersson kind of sucks right now. I think Pettersson said all the right things in this piece. I've been a Pettersson believer, a Pettersson fan over the last 48 hours. I'm trying not to be a skeptic, but we have to keep in mind that it's really all about, and I hope Pettersson knows this too. Like, there's an educated fan base here, right? We watch games closely, and you can tell us this, and you can tell Ian McIntyre this, but it's really all about what you do in game 3. And that's the obvious, but we have to keep in mind that Pettersson's kind of been struggling for 30 games, 35 games. This is not just the game 1 and game 2 thing. All in all, I think before, like in the beginning of his struggle, right? You could kind of blame the contract talk, right? That stuff was heavy. And now the playoffs are heavy, right? And in the middle of that is all this mediocre performance. And I hope that, because I remember that you brought up something else from the article on my drive here about how what really got him was that third goal against Nashville when he made the turnover and then he scored in his own net. And he kind of alluded to that being rock bottom. And we kind of alluded to that a couple days ago. And I hope that is the case, because not only do we need this guy to go up from here, we kind of need him to, again, strap on the jetpack and go all the way to the stars, which is possible, because I'm tired of people commenting on these videos in the live chat, in the comments, or, just calling into post-game shows and whatnot and doubting Elias Pettersson. Bro, he's one of the best players in franchise history. He's going to make you eat your words. Believe in this guy, especially right now, because it's the playoffs and it's us against the world. And if you're a smart hockey fan, again, you know that this guy has more of the ability to not just get it done, but take over a series. He is uber talented, and not just uber talented offensively, uber talented defensively. I know a lot of people are kind of forgetting about the fact that going into the season, like we're talking about this guy potentially winning the Selke, and I look at a guy like Jack Eichel as a perfect comparable of what Pettersson can do when he reaches his peak performance, especially when the games matter here in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, and I think JT Miller actually alluded to this as well in the interview. JT Miller basically said, quote, "You have to go through this and learn. It's part of the evolution for players. When Petey's on his game, he's a top player in this league. Everyone knows that." And he goes on to basically say that, Miller's been there on a smaller scale when he was a young guy with the New York Rangers. Obviously wasn't a big star on the team. And then Miller says, with Pettersson, he has a lot more talent. I just think that you need to learn what it takes. So that's kind of what we're talking about before. The playoffs are a different animal. You got to learn how to control your emotions. And Kyle, like you said, at the end of the day, people are doubting Pettersson, but people easily forget, he's one of the most talented players in the NHL.
Yeah,
so
good.
Again, I do believe he's on the verge of breaking out. Kyle, let's touch on the lineup quickly, maybe before
can I bring something up? Can I bring one more
thing
thing up on Pettersson? Because I think here's the truth too, right? Like the Canucks have sucked for a long time, and now they're back in the playoffs. So it kind of brings out not just the closet Canucks fans, but the Canucks fans who ignored the team over the last 12 months, right? So, or even the last 24 months or whatnot, right? Maybe even the last 36 months, because I have had this situation with one friend, okay, who's actually a really big Canucks fan. Like he feels it in his heart. He's passionate, right? He loves the game. And now he's watching Pettersson play this way. And only this way. Because he's ignored the Canucks over the last couple of years. So he hasn't even seen Pettersson at his best. And that's allowing some fans, not only him, to doubt this guy's effort, doubt this guy's will to win, even use terms like, oh, he did it for the money. He got his money and he's checked out because he got the check. Bro, don't be putting that stuff out in the universe because that is not the truth. Prior to this struggle, right? Prior to whatever we've seen post-January, post-February, bro, let's be real. This dude was the hardest working player on the team. There's a big reason why going into this season, we wanted Elias Pettersson to be the captain. Straight up. 100%. And this guy is a fragile dude, and he's out there willing to put his body on the line. You know what I'm saying? Trying to lay out the body. We've seen him make a couple big hits this season. Look at game 1 against the Oilers this season. Look at that game against San Jose. One of the biggest hits of the season came because Elias Pettersson is that guy. He is still that guy. And now it's the playoffs, right? It's the playoffs. I've been reading too much Deepak Chopra. I've been reading too much of this book right here, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And I just look out for my neighbors, right? Look out for my neighbors before we look after the world. Go, Elias Pettersson, go. You got this, man.
I love it, man. Hey, so I want you to be a Locked On Canucks drinking game every time you mention Deepak Chopra or reading a book.
Come on, man.
Or say your girlfriend's
somebody got mad at me for bringing up Hindus. I don't even know if Deepak Chopra is a Hindu. I'm just connecting with them right now, okay?
Oh, that's fantastic. Hey, you mentioned it too about, people doubting Pettersson and bringing up the contract. That was one of his quotes in the interview too. McIntyre asked him about, the pressure of the contract, and Pettersson said, quote, "Sure, I've heard about it. But at the end of the day, the size of my contract doesn't matter how I should play. Maybe the emotion has gotten to me a little bit, but I like to think, especially after the last game, I just realized what's important to think about. Nothing comes good from dwelling and living in the past and doubting your abilities. Obviously, I want that last game back, but what can I do?" And all he can do is bring it in game 3 and the rest of the series. And he has the ability to do so. Kyle, let's bring it as we wrap up the show. Maybe let's talk about one thing that we're watching for in game 3. Get to a couple of comments because we're nothing without the people here. Before we do all of that, let's wrap up the show by shouting out Monopoly Go. You know the deal, baby. I'm not on my phone that much, but if I am on my phone, I'm smashing buttons, tapping away, playing Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you can play not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, build up amazing cities that bring you the big money. But the best part is messing with my friends. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like classic Monopoly. But now I can also heist their vaults of riches for myself. And the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in time tournaments, and you earned huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store and Google Play.
Wow, dude. Monopoly Go, man. Changing lives, man. Yo, if one time I had a date with a girl, I hope my real girlfriend is not listening to this, but we played Jenga. Okay? So games work on dates. That's all I'm saying. People, we back here at the Don't Those Art Lab, looking after our neighbors, man. Given that West Coast bias, given that delusion, delusion built the world. Okay, for real. We need more positive delusion. Anyways, Begsy Bowen, doing our thing. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. Join the Discord. The link is in the bio. Before we, preview some more of Game 3 and give you some of Tockett's quotes, I just want to read some of the comments, okay? For real. For real, okay? How about this one from Mother Nucker, okay? Thanks for the super chat. This guy's saying shots, LFG. And again, thanks for the super chat. That might be an American, buddy, because I know this guy's from Texas. Straight up. How about the Major Towel, okay? Good take, Kyle. You wear your emotions on your sleeve. I can tell you love your Canucks. I love the Canucks, man. Canucks are the reason we're here, man. Straight up. I wouldn't be Begsy's friend if it wasn't for the Canucks. Just the truth. And how about this one from Callum Sandu, okay? Hronek is going to be scoring or retiring players this afternoon, okay? If you heard Rick Tockett's quote yesterday, he basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, but let's break some bones of the Nashville Predators if they're, only willing to block shots. If that's the only trait they're bringing to the game of hockey in this series, okay? Let's break some bones. I like that. Look, we brought this up yesterday, right? A big reason why I think the Vancouver Canucks are going to win this series, minus Thatcher Demko. I think for 4.5 periods, we've kind of dominated possession. Real talk. We've also dominated the physical game too. We've laid the body out big time, okay? Some of the biggest hits of the playoffs have come from the series, and it's come from Canucks players hitting the Predators. And you throw in now the block shots and the amount of block shots that Nashville, wants to create. It's going to lead to these guys breaking down eventually. It's going to happen. And now Tocchet saying, again, break some bones. I like it.
Yeah, Rick Tocchet had that quote again. Tee it up was his was what he used when he was talking to media yesterday. Tee it up because if the Nashville Predators are going to block shots, make them pay for it. And apparently Nashville is going to have this T-shirt or this slogan that says "Commit to the pain." I mean, that's great and all, and Tocchet said embrace the pain, but Callum mentioned in the comments, right? Like if Hronek's ripping, 95 mile per hour slap shots, commit to the pain is one thing, but break it. Some bones might be broken. Like that is crazy, man. Hockey players are nuts, man. Hockey players are absolutely nuts.
What is Nashville doing? Commit to the pain? I get it, but they may be manifesting something else. Okay, you know what? I will bring this point up too, because again, I'm getting emotional right now. I uploaded a TikTok post Game 2, and I think some Predators fans didn't like the fact that I said Nashville kind of sucked today, right? Straight up. But I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. If you're bragging about your team's performance after your team put up 13 shots in the first 58 minutes of that game, dude, you're the wrong side of delusion, okay? You're just kind of an idiot. Nashville is not really playing well in this series. And I want to bring it back to the point I made at the top of the episode. That's why I think, again, the first 10 minutes of this game are going to be huge because Nashville offensively over the last 30, 40 games of the year, they're pretty good. They have it in them. And they're probably embarrassed with that performance too, even though they got to win. And man, the first 10 minutes, like what happens here? How did the Canucks calm this storm? Can they do it again? It's in Nashville, Smashville, a good American market, a really good American market. It's going to be tough, man. They're coming. I wouldn't be surprised if in the first 10 minutes, Nashville gets like 9 shots on goal.
I'd be a little surprised based on the way the series has gotten. But again, unless that's part of the Canucks game plan to collapse to the middle, allow some more shots from the outside to let DeSmith feel the puck, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. But, a couple of things I'm watching for tonight's game. I'll give you 2, Kyle. One thing I'm watching for is how Nashville matches up against Vancouver's lines, because I think one of the biggest surprises of this series has been that Nashville has wanted to have their fourth line go up against the JT Miller line. that line, the Nashville fourth line has been crushed in those minutes. JT Miller's line with Brock Besser and Pius Suter have had the puck constantly. They just haven't capitalized and scored. I see that. I think the dam's got to burst at some point in that regard too. I do think if that matchup continues, and I have reason to believe it will based on how it's gone so far, that line's going to score at some point. And the other thing I'm watching for as well is we talked about Pettersson a lot. Based on the lines of practice, he's still riding shotgun with Höglander. These guys have combined for some goals against Nashville in the past. Höglander has, three goals, 5 points, six career games against Nashville. Looking at his split stats, he's, a bit more productive on the road than he is at home. I'm looking for Pettersson and Höglander to combine to create something. Because, again, been quiet so far for them. They've done it in the past in this arena. And, again, the JT Miller line matchup against the fourth line, I think, is something else that the Canucks can capitalize on as well.
Yeah. Game 3, man. 4:30 p.m. I expect, you brought up the name there at the end, right? The JT Miller, the matchup, him doing something today. Let's not forget that, he doesn't have a goal this series. You know what I'm saying? Brock Besser doesn't have a goal this series. And they've been generating a lot of chances the whole way through. You can make the argument that Pius Suter could have 4 goals in this series. So that breakthrough for that line on top of Pettersson equates to this, okay? And listen to this, okay? Can we play the music? Can everyone close their eyes right now? And this may piss off one listener. Because, again, he left a comment. He left a comment earlier talking about him wanting this show just to be about hockey. Hey, this show's also about vibration. So everyone close their eyes. We're winning 6-1 tonight.
Holy.
We're winning 6-1 tonight. We're breaking some bones tonight. Nashville will never want to block Nashville is going to make a case that shooting the puck over 90 miles per hour should be illegal moving forward after tonight's game. Go Canucks, go, man. Join the Discord, link in the bio. Have fun tonight. Relax. And again, they built the pyramids without Adobe Photoshop. We somehow built airplanes without the internet. How did they build airplanes? Think about it. How did they do that? If you really think about it, how did they? I feel like 10 years after the light bulb was created, they built the airplane. Because I'm telling you, man, delusion gets you places and anything is possible, okay? Go Canucks, go. Shout out to Casey DeSmith. Again, if you win a Stanley Cup, I'm going to name my daughter DeSmith. DeSmith Bowen, Queen of Tanzania. My name, Kyle Bowen. That right there's Trevor Beggs. Join the Discord, link in the bio. Hit the like button. Go Canucks, go. Beggsy, sign us out.
All right. Hey, Rick Talkin's been telling Canucks embrace the pain. I'm telling Canucks fans embrace the stress, okay? These are tense times, but this is what you live for when you watch sports, right? These tense moments that have you on the edge of your seat. That's going to make you jump out of the chair. That's maybe going to make you cry a little bit too. Embrace the stress. Have fun tonight. Happy Friday. Crack a cold one. Do whatever you got to do to enjoy the game. And you know that we'll be here for you on Locked On Canucks. Your Canucks every day. Talk about everything that happens with this series. Again, every damn day. Shout out to the everydayers, occasional listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live YouTube show. We love each and every one of you, your families, and your dogs too. Go Canucks, go baby! Game 3, let's go! I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen. We'll catch you down the next time here on Locked On Canucks.
Go buy a shirt.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked